Hello everyone, welcome back to BlackMoonCoven. So today we're going to be talking about poppets and warding, and then we're also going to be making one of these. It's going to be a little stick poppet, but we're going to be using our warding knowledge to make this into a ward for your home. Make it into a little guardian for your home. So, I already have a video on poppets on my channel. However, I do want to kind of just reiterate a couple of points, especially points that I've seen like get spread all over the internet. I kind of want to dispel some things and also just kind of reiterate that and bring that into warding so then we can utilize both of those things and make something cool. So, poppets. Due to misinformation on social media, movies, books, and just basically media for like entertainment purposes, poppets are always seen as something baneful. So on all of the like TV shows, I don't know who's watched Salem, but my favorite part is like the little dolly poppet that she has, and just making it seems like very cool and evil. But poppets are used for a variety of different things. They're not just for curses and hexes. So a lot of things that I've seen on social media is that people automatically will just go to the negative. You know, if a witch gives another witch a poppet, oh, it's negative, it's bad, and all this dumb stuff. One thing that I have seen is that people spread the rumor that you can't use a poppet for yourself, like you can't make a poppet of yourself for yourself. Of course you can. Sure you can. You just have to take extra special care of it, because if someone does get a hold of it, that could be potentially dangerous magically. That's like the only thing that I would think of that like I would have a hard and fast rule about if I was going to make it for myself. But anyways, that's kind of later. Due to misinformation, these poppets get viewed as something so bad, and then people don't really see like the versatility in the object. You can use them for anything. What the hell is a poppet? It's a witch's creation, usually humanoid in shape. So witches create these humanoid shaped things because they either want to target somebody, work with spirits, maybe use it as a vessel for a spirit. They usually have a humanoid shape for that aspect. So they can be made out of anything: paper, fabric, clay, wood, bread, whatever. It can be really simple, all the way to the really complex. Poppets are very, very, very versatile. You can use them for goddamn anything. People also say that poppets have to exactly look like you for it to work, or like you look like the target for it to work. That's not true either. You could literally have this and place their photo on the head part and utilize that as the poppet. It's about your power and the magic that goes within making the poppet and things like that that have a lot of effect on how good it's going to work. So there's just a lot of dumb misinformation floating around. But poppets work because of the theory of sympathetic magic. So poppets get made in a humanoid shape, and that humanoid shape resembles the person. So, for example, sympathetic magic uses a theory of like versus like. Like equals like. So that means that if I make a poppet of you and I stick pins into you, for example, I want something to stick to you, or I want to bind something to you, or I want to hurt you potentially, then you will feel that pain, or you will feel what I want you to feel, or, you know. So like equals like. Whatever you do to this poppet will happen to this person because you are symbolically inflicting it onto them. So that's kind of why sympathetic magic works, and that is where the poppet kind of lives in the frame of like magical technique and theory. So like I said, they can be made out of anything. They are very versatile. You can use them in both healing all the way to cursing magic. And you could also use it for yourself. So example, if you wanted to do some self-love work, or if you wanted to like stuff the poppet full of money or anything else, you can also use it for yourself. So they're very, very, very versatile. Poppets are great. Check out my video on poppets because I think the other poppet video, I made them out of fabric, which is really cool. So this one's going to be a stick one, but either one, super versatile. You can make them out of anything. So, let your creativity fly in that aspect. Let's move on to warding. Wards, generally speaking, wards are a force field usually employed by the use of an object. So the use of an object or a charm is at the center of the ward and kind of emanates that protective energy, emanates that bubble around your dwelling, around your room, around your apartment, whatever you want the ward to kind of encompass. They don't have to be physical objects. You can have wards that are kind of liminal in that physical but not physical object kind of thing. So you could do some with water, you could do them with smoke, you can trace your wand around the property, you can do it with visualization as well, but physical objects are easier to work with. I like making charms, I like making poppets. I'm a very hands-on type of witch, so I like working with physical objects just because you can tell if it's working or not. You could tell if it died. That's something that a lot of people don't talk about either. Charms, jars, things like that, they have a shelf life. Magic has a shelf life. You have to continuously work to keep it alive. If you let it just sit there and go stale, it's just gonna die. So you're gonna have to put work into it. You don't have to do it daily, but you could do it monthly, whatever. We're going to talk about that when we talk about our poppets. So, physical objects are just a lot easier to work with because you can recharge them, you can redo them, you can redecorate them, you can put new life into them so you could keep them going, but also make them stronger over time. Wards are special in their way. They're kind of a really special protective type of magic because they keep desired things in and then unwanted things out. So having a ward around the property or in your home is very beneficial. Having many wards is extra beneficial. So if you live in an apartment, if you live near crossroads, if you live near busy streets where things are chaotic, you have to ward a lot. Apartments are the worst. Apartments suck. Just because there's a lot of people in the apartments, and usually it's on busy streets, and you have to deal with a lot of riffraff. So warding is really great. I keep a couple of different wards around my apartments, especially by the entryways. So I have a horseshoe hanging in the front door, and then another ward in the back door. And then I also do warding around the apartment itself, so around the whole building. I have a ward going, just because I want to double, triple, quadruple layer on the protection, especially in the entryways, because you're dealing with a lot of people. You're dealing with a chaotic environment where spirits come in and out. So warding is very beneficial. Having a lot of wards is even more beneficial. The more wards, the better. Now, this warding poppet, it's very simple. It's a simple protection charm. However, just like with most folk magic, do not be fooled by its simplicity. Okay? Just because it's a stick that I bound with some red thread does not mean that it's not a powerful talisman. We're going to go through on how to properly assemble it, how to properly work this type of charm, because it does require work. Just because it's a simple little stick poppet doesn't mean that you're not going to be working it. You could do it daily, monthly, weekly, but the point is to keep it going, to keep it working. You have to keep it working. It's going to have its magic for as long as you keep it working. If you leave it there hanging, over time it's going to get weak and it's going to die. So that's kind of like the basis rule of poppet magic too, is you have to keep it going. You know, a lot of spell jars are like that, poppets, talismans, spell sachets, things that you create as a witch, you have to keep them going. So the same thing with this little poppets. So material-wise, obviously you're going to need some wood. I like to collect sticks that have like a forked pattern because then you can get a really nice humanoid shape. But you can do a cross. A cross is a very nice, also symbolic for warding too. It's a very nice poppet as well. And just stuff for the arms. You can use another stick. I used a couple of different like bendy sticks for this one. Red thread. Red is really great in protection magic, but it's also really popular in Slavic folklore and Slavic magic, so that's why I use red thread. You could use black, you could use green, you could use blue if you really want to make almost like a spirit trap. You could use blue. You can do a whole bunch of different things. I like to use red. I'll also use black if I have that on hand. But red is also good. And you're going to need a candle, and you're going to need some type of blessing oil or protection oil. Either one can work. Banishing oil could work too if you have that on hand. And if you wanted to incorporate some type of protection herbs, you can powder them, and I will show you how to apply it to this poppet. So, we covered poppets and then warding. Now we're going to go on and create this little guide. I'm going to tell you all about how to work it. Okay, so what you're going to need is a candle. I'm a fire element, so I need a candle there to focus. I love having a candle lit while I am doing some type of charm work or assembly of any type. I need a candle lit, so that's optional, but to me it's not. A red cloth. I do a lot of my work, and especially spell work, on red cloth because red in the Slavic folklore is very important for protection, but it also has a lot to do with hiding things from the evil eye or other witches or anything else. So any type of charms and protective work that I do for myself, I always do so on a red cloth. So a candle, red cloth. You're going to need, obviously, your wood. Grab a piece that has a kind of Y shape to it, just because it makes a nice pair of legs. And then for the arms, I'm using some smaller sticks that I'm just going to kind of bundle together to make nice thick enough arms. Plus it'll add a little bit of dimension, which I like. Red thread, how much? Probably a couple of feet. You know, unroll it, and when you think it's enough, it's enough. Burn the ends, and it'll be enough. What else? Blessing oil. So before I talked about that we'll be able to use blessing oil or herbs or anything like that, I will show you how to do that. You can either take the actual string and put it inside the oil and then wrap it around your ward and then hang it up somewhere. That'll be infused with blessing oil. I'm going to bless my hands and then rub the oil on top of the wood as I do so. So this is a type of blessing oil that I've made. It's kind of a multi-dimensional tool type of oil. I use it for cleansings. I use it for consecrating tools. I use it for doing charm work. I use it for generally anything I want to bless, anything that I want to seal down. Yeah, I pull out this oil and I do it. It took me about 9 days. 9 days to make, or I'm trying to decide, 7 or 9. I think it was 9 days to make, just because there's a lot of prayer and a lot of things involved in making a good blessing oil, but more on that if you guys want to know later. So, okay. First things first is we light our candle. Now, before I get into this, this is how I work. This is how I do my charms. There's going to be a lot of other things that I'm not going to display, but I'm going to give you the basic groundwork for you to kind of do it your own way, however you want to do that. There's a lot of stuff I don't display just because you have to be able to keep secrets as your path grows and continues. You don't want to display everything out there, but I'm going to give you the general consensus, and you can do with it what you will. You can add to it, you can subtract to it, whatever you want to do. But this is how I work. So if it resonates with you, I hate that word. If it resonates with you, if it vibes with you, go ahead and do that. If it doesn't, make up your own. The basic principle is just to get this ward done and completed so then we can hang it up in the home. So the first thing that I do personally is I light my candle and I focus on what I'm trying to do, what is the purpose of it, what is the desired outcome. Next, I heat up my hands. So I trace them over the candle kind of like this. I heat them up. And I do this with my hands just to get them charged up and ready to begin the charm making process. You can feel your hands tingling. That's a really good sign. So what I'm going to do is take some of this blessing oil and put it on my hands and bless my hands. That way my hands are blessed, and whatever I do with my hands is going to go into the object that I'm doing, make it magical. It's going to produce my desired outcome, everything else. You could always add extra oils on after you're finished. If you want to use herbs, if you want to utilize herbs, you can either tie them in with the ward, or when you have soaked your string in the oil, once you have soaked it in there, you can powder the herbs on top of it, and it sticks really well to a nice yarn. So that's a really nice little technique that I've learned over the years. So you want to take your arms of your ward, of your poppet, and you're going to put it down wherever you want, wherever you see like it fit. And you're going to take the end of your string, and obviously you're going to be tying it. So this is another way you could incorporate magical elements, magical technique, is the way you tie your string. So obviously if you want to tie things towards you, you want to bind things towards you, you're going to wrap the string towards you. If you want to repel things, away from you, so on and so forth. So this is going to be a nice protection ward. So if we want protection, I'm going to do it towards me. So I first start off diagonally, and I'm going to loop it 3 times. And then I'm going to cross over the top. Cross over the top and then go underneath to get to the other side and loop that 3 times. So 1, 2, 3. Okay. So now you have a nice little X with your red thread. And now you just tie and go as many loops and as many times around as you want to. You could symbolically add a number to this if you really want. The whole point is just to make a nice, sturdy ward. Poppet. I keep saying ward, but it's a poppet. So that's just the whole point, is to make it nice and sturdy so it doesn't fall apart, or it doesn't come apart when you open the door or anything else. Another thing you want to consider is where you're going to hang your ward, because where you hang it makes all the difference too. If you're going to be hanging it by the front door, you have to kind of think about, okay, how I'm going to hang it up there. Am I going to use a nail? Command hooks are great. You know, stuff like that. Front door, back doors are always a great place for wards and this type of protection work, especially if you live in an apartment, because like I was saying, apartments can be so chaotic with energy-wise. And I live in an apartment that's next to a really busy crossroads, so that's even worse. I did say I was going to recommend a book, Rust of Nail and Prick of Thorn. I'm going to get the author's name and I'm going to put it down in the description of this video, but that freaking book is awesome. It details warding so much that you'll feel like you're an expert at it, and it's really nice. But it details warding in such an easy context that everyone can get and appreciate. And the book goes really quick, and that's another thing I like. It's like, get to the point already. And the author gets to the point. The sections are nice and short. Here's the answer. Here's what you do. Here's how you do it. Things like that. I love that. So once you've reached the end of your string, you're just going to tie a couple of knots. You can do a symbolic number. You can do 3. You can do 6. You can do 9. You could even breathe into the knots once you are tying them, just to reiterate your desired outcome, if that's what you wish. So I'm going to tie, and then I'm going to do a little bow, just in case I want to hang it off a nail. Don't cut your thread. Never cut your thread. Always burn it off with a candle. So I'm just going to leave it. That's how it is. So don't want to burn myself. There you go. So here is our poppet. Here is our ward that's going to be protecting our home. So now you're going to take more of your blessing oil. And I like to just put it right onto the yarn because it sticks like the nicest. And while you do this, you're going to want to baptize it in a way. So you can name it if that's what you want. You can name it ward, you can name it poppet, protection, guardian, whatever you want to do. Speak to it like it's alive. Give it life, and it will do its thing. So when you are enchanting a charm, there's a couple of different things you can do. Obviously the oil, you could take it in your hands, treat it like it's now a living object. It's a vessel for your magic. Wards, like I said in the beginning of the video, they tend to die too. So you want to keep refreshing it. You know, this seems like a really simple little poppet, and that's it. It's just a little craft. But it takes work to make this a really good spell. It takes work to make it a really formidable type of ward. So what I mean by work is every day you could walk past it, look at it, stare at it, give it more of an intention, feed it more of its desired outcome. You could handle it, you could talk to it. I like to oil mine up like every new moon, depending on when I made it, what I made it for, etc., etc. So I'll put it down in my calendar, and every so often I'll give it a fresh sprinkle of blessing oil and be like, okay, here's what I want you to do. Thank you for what you've done already, yada, yada, yada. Yes, I talk to my charms like they're a living thing, just because once you have put your energy and creativity and your hands onto something, I believe it does become a living thing in a way. You have created this thing from nothing, and now you're giving it a purpose. I think that's basically it. Comments, questions, and concerns, put it down in obviously the comment section. Check out the description for that book and author. Really great book. You have to check it out. And basically, that's it. So have a lovely rest of your evening, and until next time.